All right, we'll go ahead and get started. A little bit different logistics today. I've been doing the last couple weeks outside. Uh, the weather today isn't really supporting that, so hopefully everything will work out inside the house. So today's topic is courage. The name of this one is The Kind That Shows Up. So go ahead and start to settle into your chair. Let your eyes close or let your gaze settle soft and low, whatever is comfortable for you. Somewhere last week, someone sat in a parking lot for an extra minute before walking into a room they'd rather have skipped. Maybe it was a class, maybe it was a hard conversation they'd been putting off. Maybe it was just the day itself and getting out of the car was the whole task in front of them. They didn't feel brave sitting there. They just opened the door anyway. No one driving past that parking lot would have known anything was happening at all. From the outside, it just looked like someone getting out of a car. That's usually how it goes. The bravest moments most of us have are almost never witnessed, and they rarely feel brave while we're inside them. They just feel like the next small thing in front of us done anyway. That's the kind of courage we're spending our time with today. Not the kind that makes the headlines, but rather the kind that shows up to practice again after a hard week. The kind that tells the truth gently instead of avoiding it. The kind that keeps going when nothing yet proves it's working. It rarely looks like much from the outside. Today we'll learn to recognize it in ourselves anyway. And we'll come back to that. Let's start by getting settled. Feel where your body meets the chair. Feel your feet on the floor, a little weight settled into each one. Let your hands rest however it's most at ease for you today. Lengthen through the spine, not stiff, not straining, just enough lift that the breath has somewhere to go. You don't need to look like a photograph of a monk. You just need to be here. The way you'd sit if you'd already done the hard part simply by arriving. Now let's find the breath. Picture a lighthouse somewhere on a coast you've never seen. Its beam sweeps across the dark, steady and unhurried, on and on. So quietly, after a while, that you'd forget it was even working. It doesn't flash or announce itself. It isn't trying to be dramatic. It just keeps turning all night. Whether any ship is out there to see it or not. Your breath has a little of that same quality. It doesn't need applause to keep going. It just sweeps in, sweeps out, doing its quiet work without asking anyone to notice. But let's notice it now. Notice the inhale arriving unhurried. Notice where it lands. Where do you feel it in the body? Notice the exhale releasing, steady, asking nothing of you in return. Breathing in, showing up is already the courage. Breathing out, the result can wait. Breathing in, my voice can be quiet and still be honest. Breathing out, I don't need volume to tell the truth. Breathing in, I let this day be ordinary. Breathing out, ordinary is enough. As we sit, it is almost inevitable that your mind is going to wander toward the list, the errands, whatever is waiting for you when you finish your practice today. That's not a failure of courage. It's more like the neighbor's dog barking off in the distance, doing what dogs do. You don't need to go check on it. You don't need to be annoyed at it either. Just notice the barking. Let it be exactly as important as it actually is, and then come back to the breath. That coming back over and over is its own small act of showing up. Notice the bark and let it fade. That's the practice. I want to tell you where the word courage comes from because I think it changes how we hear it. It traces back to the Latin word cor, meaning heart. Not muscle, not nerve, not grit. Heart. To have courage, in its oldest sense, meant to speak plainly from the heart. To tell the truth of who you are without putting some armor around it. Somewhere along the way, we let the word get borrowed by battlefields and mountain climbers, when we forgot that its original home was much smaller and much closer. The kitchen table, the doctor's office, a quiet apology. The writer Marianne Radmacher put it plainly. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. I think about that line often in the balance work I teach. I watch this exact kind of courage happen in real time. Someone holding a stance a beat past comfortable, wobbling, and staying anyway instead of grabbing for the wall. Nobody claps for that moment. Nobody is supposed to. It's just quietly, unmistakably courage. And the body knows it even when we don't say the word out loud. We see it too in anyone who's ever done the slow work of physical therapy. The daily rounds, the same small movements repeated for weeks with no dramatic before and after to point to. Nobody claps at the end of week 3. There's no moment where a bell rings and everyone agrees you've arrived. There's just Tuesday and then Wednesday. And the quiet decision to show up for the exercises again on the strength of nothing but yesterday's showing up. That's the courage our practice is about today. Not the kind that gets a trophy, the kind that gets up the next day and tries again. No guarantee, no applause, and often no proof yet that it's even working. Picture a room you know, a class you attend, a place you practice something, real or imagined. Picture the week behind you, a hard one. The kind where it would have been easy to stay home. Nobody would have questioned it. You had reasons. Now picture yourself walking in anyway, not with excitement, not even maybe with much energy. Just walking in the way you'd walk into any ordinary room because some part of you decided that showing up mattered more than how you felt about it. Notice there's no fanfare. Nobody stops what they're doing to mark the moment. You just take your place the way you always do, and the practice begins the way it always does. Let yourself notice quietly that this unremarkable walking in was the courageous part. Everything after it was just practice. The courage already happened at the door. Notice too that nothing about the room required you to perform. No one was measuring your effort against last week's. You simply took your place among the others who had also, in their own quiet way, decided to come. Now let's shift the image and bring it a little closer to home. Picture someone you care about, a spouse, a friend, one of your own children, someone real. Picture a small truth you've been carrying, something you haven't quite said out loud. Nothing dramatic, just something honest that's been sitting unspoken because saying it felt like more trouble than it was worth. Imagine yourself saying it anyway, gently, without needing to win anything, without raising your voice. Just a plain, soft sentence offered the way you'd hand someone something fragile. You don't have to imagine their reaction. That's not the point of the exercise. Notice only your own voice, steady, saying the true thing without armor around it. That gentleness is not the absence of courage. It is what courage actually sounds like most of the time in most ordinary rooms. And notice too that you don't need the perfect sentence. It doesn't need the right words in the right order. It just needs to be true and offered without the armor. The relief, when it comes, usually isn't about how the other person responds. It's simply the relief of no longer carrying something silently. Our poem this week is from David White, a poet that we had heard from a couple of times before. The poem is called Start Close In. He wrote it after a season when a great deal of things in his life had just been taken away all at once, and he needed a way back. And one that didn't require heroics, just the next small, honest step. This is Start Close In. Start close in, don't take the second step or the third. Start with the thing close in, the step you don't want to take. Start with the ground you know, the pale ground beneath your feet, your own way to begin the conversation. Start with your own question, give up on other people's questions, don't let them smother something simple. To hear another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes an intimate, private ear that can really listen to another. Start right now, take a small step you can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing close in, the step you don't want to take. David White. The step you don't want to take. That's the whole teaching today, really, crafted into a single line. Not the leap, not the grand gesture, just the one small step close in that you've been putting off. Taken anyway, quietly, without needing it to look like heroics. That's what ordinary courage does. It doesn't skip ahead to the third step, it just takes the first one today, close in, and lets that be enough. As we come back from today's images, start to notice the room around you again, the chair beneath you, your feet still resting on the floor exactly where they've been the whole time. Whatever step you've been putting off this week, small, close in, unglamorous, it doesn't have to be taken today for this time to have mattered. It just has to still be there waiting the next time you're ready. And whatever step you've already taken, the parking lot, the practice room, the gentle truth already spoken, let yourself notice that too. Not to congratulate yourself loudly, just to know it. You did that, it counted, even though nobody rang a bell. And we come to our affirmations for our theme of courage. Just let them resonate in whatever way feels right, realizing they might not all quite land. Take what fits, let the rest go. Courage doesn't have to roar, it just has to show up. Showing up again is not a small thing, it is the thing. I can tell the truth gently and still mean it completely. I don't need proof it's working to keep going. The first step, close in, is enough for today. And last, I am allowed to be quietly, ordinarily brave. We'll take a short pause here to just ponder our theme today, allowing the mind to linger on anything that particularly resonated. And after just a bit of quiet, I'll tap the bowl again, and that'll be our invitation to begin our journey out of practice and back into our day. As the sound of the bowl fades to quiet, take a moment to bring a little gentle movement back to the body. Take a little bit of a deeper breath and just let it go slowly. Notice any sounds in the room you're in and beyond. And then when you're ready in your own time, go ahead and open your eyes back up and let the light back in. Thank you for your practice today. Thank you for being here. Namaste.